Stay in the harbour and look for the...
I'm Fred Royal, the oarsman. I'm the first person ashore. Once the gap's small enough for me to jump, I'll jump off the ship onto the quay, run all the way down to the auction rooms and go around all the auctioneers and get the best price I can for our fish. Once I've established that, run all the way back again to the skipper, tell him that we've got a good price for the fish and we can start unloading. There was normally a crew of 10 to 12. It'd be the skipper, the mate, the oarsman, then we'd have the netmen, the whalemen.
We're getting home!
Then we'd have a yonker. The yonker is the guy that looks after the capstan. That would take the load off of the crew. He did lots of other jobs as well. He helped shoot the nets, helped tie the buffs on, but he would look after the capstan. The skipper's job, the most important job on the ship, obviously. Without his knowledge and expertise, then there would be no fishing. Because the 1930s, the time this ship was fishing, there were no fishing aids at all. There were no echo sounders, no navigational aids to help locate the fish at all. So it relied on the skipper. His knowledge of the sea, his knowledge of fishing as to where the fish were. He would look at the sea and he would decide that yes, there were fish there. He would go on the fact that the top of the sea would look milky, it would look oily. There'd be lots of seagulls about.
Stay in the harbour and look for the foam, 'cause Friday's the day that...
Smacks like Excelsior had a crew of 5 and went to sea with ice to preserve the catch that had to be got back to Lowestoft before the ice melted, which only took a few days. They mainly fished the southern North Sea for plaice. Winter was the best time for fishing, so these vessels had to be able to take any weather, so that they were renowned for their toughness and sea-keeping qualities. You can see that from the size of the gear.
You would start on a smack when you were about 13 years old as cook. You would do that job probably for 2 years, and then you get a job as fourth hand. The skipper had the choice. There were no electronic aids at all, so it was all done on past experience, times of the year, depending on which fishing grounds you went to, where on that fishing ground you went to, down to an accumulation of his knowledge and knowledge he'd gleaned from other people.
Stay in the harbour and look for the foam.
As you've heard already, life on board a trawler or a herring drifter was tough. Each man or boy all had their special jobs to do on board, but they would all help with getting the nets in. And some started at 13 to 14 years old. On a drifter with a crew of 11 men all sleeping in one cabin, it was not very healthy. There were no toilets on board. There was only over the side or down in the engine room. When the nets were being shot, the cook had to be in the rope room passing out the rope and telling the mate when a knot, a splice or a bend was coming out.
There's a knot coming up!
When the skipper decided to haul the nets, it was hard work and could take anything from 4 to 24 hours depending on wind and tide and how the fish had gilled themselves in the nets. The cook spent all this time in the rope room coiling the incoming rope. When he had done all that, he had to get the crew's meals ready. Sometimes the crew's money was collected by their wives or their mothers from the owner's office.
Stay in the harbour and look for the foam, 'cause Friday's the day the devil doth own.